Good evening, everyone. I'm Wendell Jones, and welcome to The Platform, this program that we began last week as we talked to many leading members of our society about national issues. This evening, our special guest on the program is Mr. Fred Mitchell, who has been re-elected as the Member of Parliament for the Fox Hill constituency. Good evening, Mr. Mitchell, and welcome.
Good. It's good to see I'm still a leading member of society.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And he's the former Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Public Service. And also joining us this evening is Mr. Godfrey Enyus. Good evening, Godfrey Enyus.
Good evening.
Mr. Mitchell, the last time we spoke, you were a minister in the government. Your party was defeated in the May 2nd general elections. Were you surprised?
I think we were disappointed and surprised. We did a good job, but that's the way these elections go. So you can't mope too much about it. You got to get going and keep going and rebuild, and that's my attitude toward life. So I said to a church service I went to, you know, life has changed, not ended.
You ran against Mrs. Jacinta Higgs in Fox Hill, and she almost beat you, Fred Mitchell. She worked with you in the the general elections of 2002.
So she says.
She didn't?
No, not at all.
But did you expect her to run as close as she did? Because I'm sure you probably thought that you would win the seat very comfortably.
Well, look, the fact is we won the seat. And anyone who goes back and listens to what I said during the time of the election is I simply predicted 50% plus one. And that's all that really matters, is you win the seat, and we won it.
What do you attribute this loss to, though, Mr. Mitchell? Because there are people all over the country who are trying to analyze exactly what went wrong with the Progressive Liberal Party, why you are now in opposition, and any number of reasons are being offered as to why the PLP lost. And since you have been in politics for a long time, I'm sure you've thought about it as well.
I think it's still being analyzed. I'm not sure what the value at this point in time of me as a member or a former member of the cabinet and one of the leaders of the PLP engaging in kind of public ruminations about what was wrong, what should have been done, could have been done, so on and so forth. I'm very pragmatic with this. The fact is we are where we are.
But don't you think your supporters would want to know how you think or what you think about why you lost?
I believe that our supporters have been engaged in discussions with all of the persons who are leaders in our party, and I think those discussions should really remain in camera until we've decided what is the proper way to respond and go forward. What I think they want to hear from us now is that, as I said, life has changed, not ended. The PLP is still a strong force. We're still organized. And we're going to build on the support we have to protect the legacy of good work that was done, because the government did a lot of good work. We believe that that work was good enough for us to get a second term, but that's the decision of the Bahamian people in a democracy. And all we can do is go on from there. And I'm a positivist. You know, I remember this expression by Michael Manley, not a backward glance, not a backward glance. My view is forward.
I'm going to try it on another way, Mr. Mitchell. The FNM won, and they won 23 seats. Why do you think they won?
Well, the Bahamian people found them to be acceptable, more acceptable than the PLP. That's the simple answer. But, you know, the popular vote is, as you know, they're in a minority position. The seat count is quite close. So they have a mandate to be careful where they go and how they head. And of course, they haven't started off very well by all of this recrimination and creating this atmosphere of fear amongst people in the public service and around the country about what they're going to do. The man who leads the party, who's now the Prime Minister, indicated during the campaign that he was a changed person, but it indicates from his first actions that he's not changed at all, that he's the same person. So we have to protect our legacy, which he is seeking in the early days of this administration to try and destroy. And we also have to buttress our supporters and make sure that they know we're here for them and that the voice is not stilled or silent. And that's the job one right now as we try to decide where we go from here. But I think that analysis needs to be done internally, and it's not something which I myself would try to engage in a public forum like this, saying this went wrong or that went wrong, because it puts you in a position of saying some things which I think may not be accurate at this point in time. The fact is we are where we are, and we're going to be an effective opposition, and we'll speak up for all of the values and the choices which we believe are good and right for this country. And we believe those policies which we espoused during the last election were good for the country, and that this government will benefit from a lot of the good work that was done by the Progressive Liberal Party over the last 5 years.
Godfrey?
Mr. Mitchell, you made the remark that you were a positivist. What do you see as the way forward for the Progressive Liberal Party? Which sort of issues do you think should be on the front burner, and what sort of strategies you will probably use to project this positive view?
I think that the focus on the national patrimony, that is, that this is a country for Bahamians and we want Bahamians to benefit first and foremost from the economic benefits of the country. That has got to be the central focus. The other focus, it seems to me, in getting toward that is to eliminate poverty. I believe that the programs which the Progressive Liberal Party fostered during the 5 years that was under the Christie administration were in the main designed to eliminate poverty and to uplift people from a state of poverty. In my own constituency, I was surprised as a representative, and I thought when the urban renewal program started, for example, I had gone through the area. Shane Gibson was then the Minister of Housing, and I tried to identify those houses where people were living in substandard housing. I thought I'd identified all of those houses, and Mr. Gibson was very quick at it. I mean, some houses were built from scratch, some houses were repaired, significant things were done. When I did a walkthrough in the last 2 weeks of the campaign, I was surprised to still find that there were places where people did not have internal plumbing, for example. And there was still a need for the urban renewal program to be involved in that. If anything we need to do with urban renewal, and that is to get rid of the bureaucracy, which was slowing down the process of getting these housing repairs done. And so people were losing a bit of faith in the sense that housing would come around and do an inspection, and then 6, 8 weeks later, nothing had happened. Even as the public service minister, I believe that were I to get a second try at it, I would certainly try and be more effective at actually controlling the bureaucracy and getting it to execute what the policies are.
Mr. Mitchell, the PLP won what we refer to as the